Welcome to Rad, a daily reader for Reddit. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. I'm so freaking tired of being forced to care about everything all at once. I'm just one guy. I try to be a good person. I try to treat everyone equally. I try to be kind and compassionate. I try to be a force of good. But I'm just one guy. I have problems of my own. I have a life of my own. I shouldn't be expected to constantly wade through the crap that is the political and societal hellscape of 2020. I'm not a racist because you don't think I'm angry enough. I'm not uneducated because I don't pour through hours of toxic political commentary. I'm not privileged for wanting to distance myself from hatred. I'm so sick of being alternatively mocked and hated for not living up to other people's freedom. Fight a fantasy. I'm trying my best, but I'm just one guy. Edit. I just wanna say thanks to all the folks leaving comments like "get the frick over yourself," "you're a self-absorbed loser," and "shut the frick up." You've done a marvelous job demonstrating why this post was made. Empathy burnout. True, but also people that do the half virtue signal, half guilt trip type things like "you aren't X if you don't care about Y," or "why is nobody talking about Z?" I mean, I get it. You have the best of intentions, but when all you see on social media is that, it can be really tiring sometimes. And I know social media is super important to getting your message out there, but I think a simple story or PM would suffice, without the guilt porn. It's not empathy burnout or compassion fatigue, and it won't be fixed by a 2 weeks holiday. It's called being a normal person. There is only so much any one human being can cope with, especially when they have a life of their own and problems of their own. If other people want to be a full-time SJW, that's their business. The rest of us are just trying to get by day to day without being called a fascist or homophobe or whatever every 5 minutes just because, in the eyes of others, we aren't doing enough to be a campaigner for the cult of woke. It's all about balance, and it becomes more important as you grow up. Get a job, get married, have kids. It's about getting on with your own life and letting other people get on with theirs. It doesn't mean not caring or not speaking up sometimes, and it doesn't make you a bad person, even if some people think it does. Maybe if more people stopped thinking they have the right to judge others and started focusing on fixing what's wrong in own lives, the world might be a better place. Compassion fatigue. Sympathy shock. Same dude. 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 Turn off social media. Turn off mainstream network news. Read a book. Play with your kids. Walk your dog. Just focus on being a good person. If everyone did that, the world would be a whole hell of a lot happier and peaceful. Saving this post so I always remember. Freedom fighter fantasy. Hot damn. That's the perfect term for a lot of people. Obviously there are a lot of issues going on now that deserve our attention, but there's a lot of unnecessary stuff trying to share the same spotlight. Precisely. Trying to remain calm and knowing when to distance yourself for your own mental well-being doesn't mean you don't care. It's like if you're not frothing at the mouth all over social media, then obviously you're the enemy. I feel you. I was talking about this recently in one of my graduate classes, and another student said that's valid, but the fact that you have the option to distance yourself is a privilege. IDK. Stuck with me. That's such bullcrap. Everyone is privileged in some way. Everyone is unaffected by one issue or another. It's like saying a white Syrian refugee is privileged because he has the option to distance himself from anti-black cops. Like, yeah. So, I can't put into words why this frustrates me so much. I feel like people are trying to use the notion of privilege not to shine a light on differences in the way some are advantaged, but as a way to shut people down as well as their arguments. Did it stick with you because of how vapid and shallow the comment was? These young virtue signalers don't seem to have much understanding of the world, its history, or any solutions to the problems they perceive, but they sure are quick to lob insults at anyone who doesn't say the right words to show that they're on team virtue signal. Any sign of disagreement is met with an accusation of some ill motive. If you say that you don't have that motive, they'll tell you it's subconscious bias and privilege. You have the motive they assign to you whether you want to or not. And the more you protest, the more it serves as proof to them. It's not insightful. It's just a plug-and-play rhetorical technique to allow them to feel morally superior while saying in their self-affirming circle jerk barbell and authorizing anyone who challenges their faulty assumptions. Just tell them that the fact that they can devote time to helping other people is a privilege, because they have the mental health stability, and quite possibly have enough money that they actually have free time to engage in protests or whatever else they're doing. Yep, not having autism is a privilege. Not being blind is a privilege. Not being hit by lightning is a privilege. Having people who love you is a privilege. I mean, it's a pretty meaningless statement in itself. It surprises me how easily people bow to it and feel ashamed. We're all privileged in one way or another. Or how about we just stop trying to make people ashamed for something they didn't choose? Which is just perpetuating prejudice at the end of the day. And instead focus on how we can help people who are disadvantaged. It's funny how when you say this to some people they say, "You're just trying to twist my words. Because you don't understand." No, I'm untwisting your words. Someone else twisted them to fit their agenda. And because you believed in the agenda, you bought into the twisted words. Don't feel too bad. None of the issues being highlighted right now are new. They're all important, but it's okay to take a step back and just breathe. If someone tells you that you must take action or you're part of the problem, they are wrong. We're not superhumans, and you're not a bad person for taking a pause. 2020 is gaslighting me. I hate that Reddit uses that word so much, and most of the time uses it wrong. What are you talking about? It's always used exactly the right way. You must just be confused. You're probably just tired. Why don't you go to bed? I'll tell you what. I'll take care of the dishes tonight. Just for you. I don't pretend to anymore. Look, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to go out and march for Black Lives. Yes, they matter. Put out legislation and reform. And I'll give you my vote. I'll spread the word and be vocal of my support to those around me. But don't expect me to act like it's my whole focus in life. I'm just trying to get through the day. You have my vote. I have a right to be left alone. I feel you lol, you need a detox from people around you. My wife died at the end of April. I literally do not have it in my these days to give a flying frick about pretty much anything. I just don't. I'm dealing with my own personal intense devastation, loss, and grief, largely alone, thanks to the COVID pandemic. I just cannot muster enough energy to care about a goddamned thing, including myself, for the most part. Meanwhile, I have a friend that's going through a divorce from a physically and emotionally abusive dick, while she's become a large community organizer along the lines of BLM, successfully exploring a poly lifestyle, overworking herself between those and other projects. And I get to hear all about how stressful her life is whenever she sees me, without her ever inquiring about my mental or emotional states. And I just don't give a freaking frick. Between that, and my dislike of cancel culture versus her love of it, I'm honestly kind of at a point where I'm just thinking the friendship is effectively as dead as my wife. Right there with ya, bud. I was literally getting crap for not posting enough political crap on my Instagram. I don't want to post that crap on Instagram. I use it to look at cool pics and that's it. Craziest thing is they get actually mad. Like, we're on the same side. I'm not the enemy here. More concerned about my rapidly deteriorating grandpa with Alzheimer's. That's craps on my parents' floor at least once a day. Edit. To the few people that are saying I should listen, and stop being entitled. I live in NYC. I go to protests. I do my part. I just don't think Instagram is a place to do it. It's owned by Facebook, the largest culprit when it comes to spreading misinformation. I feel that it's like every single issue is the most important thing to ever happen. Ever. In the history of the planet. I stopped reading, watching the news because it literally was effing with my head. It's like climate change is the most important issue, so we have to act. Except of course for racism, which is the most important issue ever, which we could fix with education, which is the most important issue ever, but we need to be able to afford it, so taxes are the most important thing ever. But how can you get taxes while the economy is tanking because of the virus? Which is the most important issue to have ever happened? No, it's just the economy that's the most important thing ever. But how can we have an economy with foreign affairs being what they are? So, of course, foreign affairs are the most important thing ever. Though we should take care of things at home. Homelessness is the most important thing ever. But you can solve it with mental health help. Because mental health is the most important thing ever. But how can you even say that when we're in the middle of an opioid crisis? Which is the most important thing ever. Except for obesity, which is the most important thing ever. Though how can you say that when people are starving, the world's food supply is the most important thing ever? It just goes on and on. There's literally nothing I can do that will fix any of these problems. Now, I can do things like not be a jerk. But me not being a jerk doesn't help anyone else who may be a jerk. But that's not going to help US-North Korea relations or whatever. I can't cure coronavirus. I can't stop power plants from burning coal. I can't make one group of people not treat another group like crap. I can just try to be a good person. So that's what I'm going to do instead of exhausting myself. Don't feel bad. The majority of the jackasses out in the streets are jobless dregs of society. They are so passionate about their riots and protests because it's all they have. They shout down on those who don't support their cause because this is one of the few times they feel like they have the high ground. If these people were contributing members of society with jobs and people to take care of, they wouldn't have all this energy and time to act so caring about the downtrodden. People have created saints and martyrs out of a violent, drugged up, meth head on fentanyl who home invaded a pregnant woman and put a gun to her stomach, and a violent felon with a past of gun violence, police assault and warrants for his arrest for domestic abuse and rape, a violent sex offender, and a literal meth head junkie with a history of home invasion and violence. These are the martyrs and saints of the left. The world is going to crap because of the 10-second attention span of morons who could not wait for all the facts to appear before forming an opinion. Frick all of you United States unamused. Solution: no lives matter. Edit my first Reddit gold in the most unlikely place. Wow. The way to free yourself from intersectionalism is to realize that very few, if any, of the people shrieking about how you should supposedly care about it actually care themselves. It's almost total hypocrisy. Oh. Thanks for watching Rad. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. If you like these videos, check out Rad too.